All In Sports Network. We love sports.
Welcome back to All In Mizzou. I appreciate you for joining me here on this. Excuse me. I was saying I appreciate you joining me here on this just beautiful, lovely Wednesday morning. This is when I am right now. Maybe you're listening to it at a different time. Regardless when you're listening, I appreciate you for doing so. Yesterday, we talked about Missouri's offense and Mizzou's 23-17 win over Auburn on Saturday. Today, as we do every Wednesday, we're getting into the defense. I rewatched the defense this morning, and we're going to talk about that now. I'll start off just with the stats. Kind of gives you a good background into how the game went, and then we'll get kind of deeper into a lot of what I saw. Let's see here. Missouri gave up 357 total yards to Auburn. 207 of them were passing yards. 150 of them were rushing yards. Auburn was 6 of 16 on third down, 0 for 1 on fourth down. That's pretty good. I think you take that if you're Missouri's defense. Missouri actually won time of possession, 32 minutes, 47 seconds to 27 minutes and 13 seconds. So that's something there. Toronto Pride picks off Jackson Arnold for the first time all year. Jackson Arnold throws an interception. There you go. That's a good stat, right? Arnold had a decent game, 207 yards, 18 of 30 passing, 1 interception. For one of his better passing performances of the year, he was statistically better against Ball State, of course, as you would expect. At Oklahoma, he threw for 220 yards and a touchdown. He's only eclipsed 200 yards three times this year. That was Ball State, where he threw for 251 yards and 3 touchdowns. At Oklahoma, where he threw for 220 yards and a touchdown. And then at home against Missouri, where he threw for 207 yards and an interception, the first interception of his career. He only ran for 14 yards. That is, let me see here. 1, 2, 3. The fourth lowest total of the season for him. Against Baylor, he ran for 137 yards. My goodness. So Missouri did a good job. The sacks obviously really eat into the rushing numbers, and that certainly was the case in this game for Missouri and the defense. Missouri finishes the game with 5 sacks. We knew this was a possibility here, Missouri being able to get after Jackson Arnold, because he had, I think Auburn had allowed tied for the most sacks in FBS football. So Missouri did a good job taking advantage of that. Josiah Trotter had a sack. Zion Young had 2 sacks. Chris McClellan had a sack. Sterling Webb and Langdon Kitchen both credited for half of a sack. Both of those guys, I thought, on film at least, played a really nice game. I think that was Langdon Kitchen's best game of his Missouri career. So that's good. You're getting another guy there on the edge that can really make an impact. Langdon Kitchen, of course, transferred from Northwest Missouri State last year, or this year. This is his first year here. And if he can turn into something, that's a nice get. Sterling Webb from New Mexico State. I believe he's originally from St. Louis, which is always fun when you have guys like that. But, he's getting better too. I think he's getting better every game. Was huge in this game, like I said. Got a sack, had a couple of big stops in the run game. Liked a lot what I saw from him. Other defensive tackles, Chris McClellan, also a sack, a couple of really big plays In overtime, there was a big tackle for loss he had on a first down, I believe. Or no, I think it was a third down in the run game. That was nice. Marquise Gracial, we'll talk about him in a little bit, but I think he made the most important play of the game on either side of the ball. So big credit to him. I thought your linebackers were pretty good. Trotter continues to impress. I think Tristan Newsom, who I really like, I thought he had a nice game. Nicholas Rodriguez struggled, so Newsom had more opportunity. Khalil Jacobs was they like to, get him going on the blitz. He blitzed a lot, and he's scary when he's running full speed at you like that. Gosh, I'm looking outside right now. My dogs are freaking out about something. It's like there's an enemy back there. Hopefully there's no enemy. But anyway, maybe it's a coyote. Anyway, good grief. What was I even talking about? Oh, Khalil Jacobs. Yeah, Missouri blitzed 21 times on, I think, 20 dropbacks. I think that's right. And so that's over 50% blitz rate. Both these teams were not afraid to blitz at all. And I like that, especially late in the game, man. Missouri was dialing up the blitz, which was good. All right, let's just go through this here. I'll try not to be chronological, but I have my notes written as I was watching. So I'll just kind of move down the line here, talk about whatever I feel like talking about. First of all, the first drive of the game, Missouri almost got off the field on a fourth down. It was 4th and 2, I think, on Missouri's side on Auburn's side of the ball. And Auburn goes for it. It's a deep ball down the right sideline. Marvin Burks Jr., the safety, was in coverage. And it looked like the receiver catches it, but he's out of bounds. And so I'm thinking, okay, Missouri, turnover on downs right away. That's huge. Get the ball in good territory, have a chance to go take the lead. But like 20 or 30 seconds after the play is even over, there's no flag graphic that comes up on the TV. There's nothing. And all of a sudden it's a pass interference on Burks. Very late call. He may have gotten there a bit early on the coverage, but I don't think it was egregious. And it was 30 seconds after the fact. I don't think you should be allowed to do that. So I don't know. I think that was a big turning point in the game because Missouri gets the ball in plus territory with a chance to take a quick lead. I think if you have a quick lead, it's a big difference than being down 7-0 and being up 7-0. So that was a big moment. I wrote down here immediately Langdon Kitchen's best game so far for Missouri. I think that's true. I think he finished the game with 3 pressures, was pretty close to a sack on a couple instances, close to sacks. So I like that. Missouri, I thought on the defensive line and passing downs, I thought they did a good job of getting pressure, even with 4 men. I have a stat I'll talk about with the 4-man pressure. I'll do that in a second, but I think they did a good job getting pressure. But they did not do a good job they didn't do a great job of, once you get pressure, not letting Arnold scramble. I think Arnold did a really nice job of avoiding pressure for the most part. I mean, there were times where you would have sworn Missouri was going to get to him, and then it ends up being a 5-yard gain for Arnold and a first down or something. So that was a frustrating part. I mean, it's tough when you play a mobile quarterback like that you can get pressure and then it doesn't matter, because you can have great pressure and you have great coverage, and it doesn't matter because you got a quarterback who can run. And I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see how Missouri fares against Diego Pavia, who's a much better quarterback than Jackson Arnold, a faster quarterback than Jackson Arnold. And I think that's going to be a huge challenge for them, just to contain Pavia. I think that's going to be very, very difficult for them. Tomorrow I'll do my Vanderbilt preview. We'll talk about that. Anyway, my stat, speaking of Vanderbilt, I've got it pulled up, non-blitz pressure rate. So I mentioned that Missouri did blitz a lot in this game. Over 50% of the time they were blitzing, if my stat was right that I saw. But they can get home without blitz, and I think you saw that on a couple times in overtime. There were some pressures without blitzing. I think it was like second and third down of the first overtime. They just brought 4 and got I think that was when Zion Young had a sack. He almost had another sack. So that was just a 4-man pressure. But Missouri is third in the country, or tied for second in the country, with a 41% non-blitz pressure rate, which means when Missouri just rushes 4 defensive linemen, they're getting pressure 41% of the time. Which is pretty good. That's tied for second in the country. First in the country is Vanderbilt, getting there 42% of the time with a non-blitz pressure rate. So that is another interesting thing to watch in this Missouri-Vanderbilt matchup that I think is going to be really, really fascinating to see. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Cam Coleman was a mismatch all over the field for Auburn. Number 8, their receiver, had a really good game. He's just tough to cover. I think that, it was his best game so far this year. 6 catches for 108 yards. He had not gotten over the 100-yard mark once all year. And, of course, it comes against Missouri because that's just kind of the way it's gone. They haven't had a lot of success against – there's problems in the secondary. But Cam Coleman in 2024 was the 3rd best player in the class, 2nd best receiver. Then he goes to Auburn. The number 1 receiver in that class, Jeremiah Smith. The number 3 receiver in that class, Ryan Williams, 2 guys you're very familiar with. So Cam Coleman, number 2 wide receiver in the class, very, very talented player for Auburn. Number 8 receiver in the class, I'm looking at the ranking now. It's kind of fun. Ryan Wingo at Texas was nearly a Missouri Tiger, I think. And I wonder if he's regretting his decision now. Maybe not. Arch is struggling to get anyone the ball, but that was also the class where Missouri gets Courtney Crutchfield. That was their best receiver get in that class. I wonder how he's doing. I don't want to get into a tangent here, but he transferred to Arkansas very predictably. It was kind of always going to happen that way. Excuse me as I go off onto this search. Crutchfield was from Auburn, so it makes sense that he goes back there. But he was a guy I was kind of excited about. He was a 4-star receiver that Missouri got from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. And doesn't look like he's played this year at all. He redshirted last year, I believe. Hasn't played much this year. Anyway, Cam Coleman's good. That was the whole point of whatever I just did. Cam Coleman, a good player. Matchup nightmare everywhere for the Missouri secondary. Toronto Pride looked totally lost against him. There was a play on the first play of the second drive for Auburn. It's a deep ball down the left sideline, very well thrown ball by Jackson Arnold, which is a rare thing for him to do, and it comes right into Cam Coleman's hands. He actually drops it, a rare drop. And then the following, Toronto Pride was totally beat, which is just becoming a very unfortunate theme. He's getting beat a lot back there in the Missouri secondary. He redeems himself on the very next play, makes a nice interception, but still, every time there was a big play in the passing game, Pride was in the vicinity and not close enough to the action. I just think you either need to give someone else a try or I don't know. He's just not – he hasn't been good enough. And I know the interception was big, and it was big, and it was a really nice play. And I'll give him credit for that. But in coverage, man, he's just – especially like one-on-one action, he's just struggling to keep up. And I hope he can improve, but it hasn't been great so far. There's just so many wide open receivers. This goes along with my Pride thing, but really it was everybody. It was Stephen Hall. It was some Drayden Norwood, although I thought Norwood was the best corner Missouri had in that game by far. But there's just, I mean, it's like you're playing a soft zone or soft. It's just like there's open receivers every time. It just quick passes wide open. There were times where just wide open down the field, like that should never be happening. And there was a play deep to Cam Coleman that actually they connected on. That was a cover 2, and Pride was running with Coleman, but he had his eyes behind him, looking at the flat, making sure there was no one going to be in that flat, and he just can't. I think you have to prioritize covering Coleman there, and he didn't. So I don't know. Just still, there's some schematic issues in the defensive backfield, I think, that have really been the only sore spot of this Missouri defense. I don't think Missouri's run defense looked as good as I expected it to. I thought, especially early in the game, Missouri's interior defensive linemen were kind of getting pushed off the block, and physically, I think they were getting kind of beaten up. And you saw that, some big runs in the first half. There was a couple of really big runs in the second half. So that was frustrating. Even when they were blitzing, there were times where Jeremiah Cobb was getting 5 or 6 yards. Another thing that really hurt Missouri was like end around runs or outside runs. I've been pretty complimentary of the safety group coming down and being really good in run support. Didn't think they were fantastic in that, especially when it was like the end arounds or the outside runs to the very outside, like outside of everything. I don't think the secondary did a great job of getting off blocks and making tackles there. That was something else that hurt Missouri's defense. But yeah, Nicholas Rodriguez, oh boy, really 2 bad penalties. He had a weird roughing the passer penalty where he smacked Jackson Arnold in the head for no reason. He did not have to do that. It was not I usually am pretty. I think pass interference penalties have gotten pretty soft recently, but that one was stupid. He just hit him in the head, and there's no reason to do that. And then there was a time where Jackson Arnold scrambled. Rodriguez was really late to commit to go make a play, and he was too late. Jackson Arnold stepped out of bounds, and then Rodriguez hit him. That's a 15-yard penalty. I think that was his worst game so far this year by far. Let's just see what else we have. Oh, yeah, let's talk about Marquise Graciel. I told you guys I thought he made the biggest play on either side of the ball for either team in this game. It was 14-10. Auburn connects on a deep ball, of course. They're moving down the field. They're running well. They get it. Eventually, it's 1st and goal. I think it's 2 straight Jackson Arnold runs that Missouri's defense handles. So it's 3rd and goal at the 1-yard line. Marquise Graciel, they hand it off to Jeremiah Cobb. Marquise Graciel bursts into the backfield to make this tackle for loss, a massive play. It wasn't just him. Marvin Burks was there as well. Tristan Newsom was there as well, but Graciel got to him first. It was a big-time run commit blitz, and Graciel blew it up for a loss of like 3 or 4, and Auburn had to kick a field goal. So that turns into a 17-10 lead for Auburn rather than a 21-10 lead for Auburn, which Missouri was not going to be able to come back from. So that was, to me, the biggest play of the game, stopping them on that 3rd and goal from the 1-yard line. Graciel was awesome there. He also had a really nice play later in the 4th quarter and then in overtime as well. Just thought he was really good. Late in the 4th quarter, there was I think this was when it was already tied, or maybe not. No, it wasn't. Missouri's still down by 7, and they need to get the ball back. There's 8 minutes left. It's a 3rd and 4. Zion Young shows up for the first time, gets his first sack of the game, and from there he took off. I mean, he was unbelievable for the rest of the 8 minutes of regulation, and then for all of the overtimes, double overtimes. He's just great for all of it. So that was really big. All right. Yeah, my notes say Gracial came alive in the fourth quarter. Zion Young came alive in the fourth quarter. That's true for both. They both were huge, just massive, massive pieces late in the game. There was a 3rd and 10 with 4 minutes and 17 seconds left. This, I think, by this point, it was a tie game. This would have gotten you the ball back with 4 minutes left, a chance to go win the game. It's 3rd and 10 is a blitz. Darius Smith was back there. Santana Banner was back there. Damon Wilson was back there. And I think Santana Banner, it looked like a broken play. It never looked good for Auburn. Santana Banner hits Arnold, somehow finds a wide open receiver. And guess who's in the vicinity? It's Toriano Pride. I don't know what he was doing. He let the guy go right over the top of his head, and just can't do that. The next third down for Auburn on that drive was a drop, just a terrible drop that would have been a first down. Forces Auburn to kick a field goal, and they missed it. So, last stuff I'll talk about in this game, just Zion Young, can't mention him enough. Drinkwitz was really proud of him after the game, talking about he was unblockable. He totally was. He fired the team up in that funny kind of coin toss incident. But he had the sack in overtime, almost had another sack in overtime, had a big tackle for loss in overtime. He just was crazy good. All my notes on the defense in this, in the overtime section of my notes, it all mentioned Zion Young. He was just awesome. And then the last play of the game, I have to talk about this because it was just one of the most incredible plays I've seen. It was 4th and 6, I think. And or maybe 4th and 8, I can't remember. But Missouri blitzed 5 times out of the 7 plays in first and second overtime. So they're blitzing a ton. They blitz on this play. Trotter comes in on a blitz, jumps over the running back trying to block him, jumps completely over him. I have not seen that before ever. And then at the same time, Damon Wilson is getting held. Doesn't matter, powers through for what I'm going to call a sack, gets to Arnold before Arnold can throw it to his offensive lineman, which you can't do. That's cheating. So I'm crediting it as a sack for Damon Wilson. But those two guys wanted it. I mean, I think that kind of wraps up into one thing. You know, this Missouri defense is, especially the front seven, I keep saying that, is really, really athletic. They just want to win. They're a lot of fun to watch. And those two guys sealed the deal for Missouri late. All right, before I let you guys go, let's do some PFF stuff. Sterling Webb, 6 pressures, a team-high 6 pressures, 4 QB hurries, 1 quarterback hit, 1 sack. Really, really good. The highest graded defender for Missouri. Who do you think it is? It's probably not who you think it is, honestly. I'll give you a second to guess while my computer loads. It was Tristan Newsom. I've liked this guy a lot since he's come to Missouri. Been a good player, 87.4 grade. His fellow linebacker, Josiah Trotter, 83.5 grade. Newsom only 28 snaps. Trotter had 61. Marquise Gracial was 3rd. Was 77.5 grade. Zion Young was 4th with 73.4 grade. And Drayden Norwood was 5th with a 69.8 grade. Pass rush grades. We're loading. Here we go. Loading. Come on. Josiah Trotter, the highest graded pass rusher, 74.6. Sterling Webb, 2nd with his 6 pressure, 72.2 grade. Really, really good job in that regard. Thought he was great. Tristan Newsom was the highest graded player for Missouri in pass coverage. He was targeted once for 1 reception for 3 yards. Pretty good. Josiah Trotter, those two guys keep showing up. 71.5 coverage grade. Targeted once for 1 catch, -3 yards. That's an improvement from what he's been. He's been, his one kind of fallback is coverage. So he was really good there. Drayden Norwood was 3rd with a 69.0 coverage grade. Targeted 3 times, only 1 catch for 4 yards. Thought he did a very, very nice job in this game. Run defense. Missouri's highest graded run defender was Josiah Trotter and then Tristan Newsom. You keep seeing those two names. Santana Banner in there as well. Zion Young, Khalil Jacobs, all in the top 5. Do I have anything else? Pass rushing productivity. I don't really know what this stat means, so I'm gonna move on from it. But here we go. Run stop percentage. The best run stop percentage, which just basically means run stop percentages focus on only running plays and stops, so tackles that constitute as a loss for the defense. Josiah Trotter had the highest stop percentage on Missouri's defense. He had 4 stops, 14.3 percent stop rate on 28 run plays that he was involved in. So 4 stops on 28 plays, 14.3%. Khalil Jacobs, 7.7% stop rate. Santana Banner, 5.6% stop rate. And Zion Young, a 3.8% stop rate. Very good stuff for Missouri's defense there. And I think the run defense definitely tightened up in late. I thought the overtime defense that Missouri sent out there was the defense we've seen all year, the defense I was expecting to see all game. They shut down the run, they shut down the pass, they got pressure. That is what you have to continue to do. And whatever they did there in overtime, whether it was just that they were more fired up or Auburn was tired, I don't know, but they really, really looked good there. I think that's about all I have for this episode of the Defense Rewatch. My takeaways are Zion Young is awesome, played a really good game. Marquise Gracial, some big moments. You're still having some breakdowns in the secondary. Got to get that figured out. It is going to be a very, very interesting matchup here with Diego Pavia. I think he can really hurt this team if they let him. I'll preview Vanderbilt, Missouri tomorrow. Watch out for that. And then I'll have former Vanderbilt kicker Will Ferris on to talk about Vanderbilt, Missouri, and everything, whatever he wants to talk about. So that'll be good. Thanks for joining me this morning, this Wednesday. Have a good Wednesday, hump day. Come back tomorrow for a good preview of a top 15 matchup this weekend in Nashville, 2:30 on Saturday. I'll be watching. You'll probably be watching. Come back here tomorrow to learn all about it. Thanks for being here. Have a good one. MIZ.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.